BookTube, it's Brekke from Brekke Writes. This is Brekke Reads, and this is a video about old books. Now, I was inspired by the wonderful Crystal Lynn to talk about old books. I really love old books, and I learned my love from old books from my father. So I'm currently at home. As you can see from behind me, that's not my normal backdrop. I'm at my parents' house visiting for a couple of weeks back on the East Coast, and I've raided my dad's shelves, the ones you can see behind me, to show you some of our most awesome old book collection. These are all books I grew up with. My dad has had these for years. A lot of them are books that have been in our family. The first are some really tiny ones. These are little pocket editions of classic stories, so some Edgar Allan Poe and some Stevenson. These are tiny and they don't have an actual date on the inside, as you can see right in there. I don't want to open it too much. It has a fully leather flap. All of these are books that have come to my father through family members, and I believe these are published in the 1890s. So this is a book I told Crystal Lynn about. This is a first edition of Uncle Tom's Cabin. You can see the inside right there. Now, first editions of Uncle Tom's Cabin are actually not that rare. This was one of the first truly mass-produced books, and so there are quite a few first edition copies, but this is in really, really good condition. You can see the pages aren't that marked, although they're very frail. The spine hasn't been broken, which is pretty impressive. But yeah, this is a first edition of Uncle Tom's Cabin, and I think my dad had it appraised and it was only worth like $200, but it's still a really cool thing to have on the shelves, and I've seen it, my whole life. It's a pretty cool keepsake to have. And this is Up from Slavery. This is by Booker T. Washington. No! Now this is a second edition printing. This was printed first in 1900 and then again in 1901, and this is a copy. You can see the printing in there. This is a copy that belonged to like a great-great-aunt of mine and is in pretty rough condition. The spine has come away from the rest of the book, so it really needs to be rebound. Some of the pages, unfortunately, have fallen out over the years. It was a well-loved autobiography. But even though it's not a first edition, it's a really important second edition to have, and it's one that I'm glad that we have with Uncle Tom's Cabin. These are books that have been together on our shelves for a really, really long time. This is a 1908 edition of Ben-Hur. Now, I have a great-great-aunt. Her name is Clara. She went to a women's college around the turn of the century, and these are some of her, I think some of these were her textbooks, and some of these are books that she read afterwards. She also wrote a manuscript that my dad has that was never published, and he has it somewhere in his man cave. But this is actually, in really, really good condition. The spine is intact. There's no pulling away. So a really good copy of Ben-Hur. You can see her name in there. So it's a pretty cool thing. These all came from family, so these are not thrift store finds. These are all family finds, which is an even cooler thing. All right, and the last sort of fiction piece I'm going to show you is this copy of the Norwegian Twins. Now, this is actually from the 1930s. I believe this was published in 1933. Yeah, so this was published in 1933, and it's a children's story of the Norwegian Twins. And I show this to you because this is a story that was read to me as a child in the 80s. So this has been really well loved. All of my father's family immigrated from Norway, so lots of Norwegian. You're going to see that in just a second because I'll show you the family Bibles. So this is one that meant a lot to me. It's from the 1930s, but it's a storybook that was read to me as a child, and I had totally forgotten we even had this, so it was a cool thing for me to find. All right, so those are the sort of fiction. I'm going to show you all the Bibles now. Bibles tend to be things that families hold on to. Now, my father's family is Catholic and Lutheran, but my mom's family isn't religious, and I wasn't raised religious, but we still have held on to Bibles. I will probably inherit these as the sole religious person of the family. This is my Uncle Adolf's Bible. Now, he's Norwegian, not German. Duffy was what he was called, and he brought this with him from Norway. You can see it's been through a lot. There's some imprinting there. And this is, I can't read Norwegian, I never learned Norwegian. It says, "Remember Has to Adolf Charleston from Aunt Ella." So even though it's written in English, the Bible itself is in Norwegian. And this Bible comes from 1898. I don't know if you can see that down there, how well that comes out. So this one was one that was probably purchased either right before they left from Norway or right after they arrived here. I suspect it came from Norway though. Then we have another Norwegian Bible, and this one is in much better condition. Now it isn't a soft cover, this is hard. This is actually a wooden cover. I don't know if you guys can see that. Again, it has that same printer's imprinting, nice spine, Biblian, Norwegian for Bible. And this was my great aunt Lydia's. You can see her name in there. She got this probably as a child, and she has her notes. I don't know what any of that says because I don't read Norwegian. But this one was published. When were you published? No one knows. This one was probably published around 1890. I'm not really sure. It doesn't have a publication date. But my guess is that this one and these two are both relatively contemporary books. This one has a hardcover, so it has been better taken care of. Although I say that, and here's a torn page with some writing on it. I don't know if you guys can see that. But anyways, these are the two Norwegian Bibles that we have. I think we have a third one, but I don't know where it is. It might be somewhere where it's not out for display because it's in rough shape. So those are the two Norwegian Bibles. We also have a Norwegian prayer book from that same aunt, my Aunt Lydia, and you can see her handwriting there, her name and some kind of note. This is from 1912, so she would have been an adult. This Bible was given to her as a child, so probably around the time she was 8, and then this one would be an adult prayer book that she had, probably when she was between 18 and 21. So these are the Norwegian Bibles and prayer books that we have held on to. Now for an English Bible. Now this one is in really, really rough condition, so bear with me. Alright, so this is the big family Bible, and these became really, really popular in the sort of mid-1800s, that you would have a really big Bible that you would pass down and chart your family lineage. I mean, this was traditional for a long time, but mass printings of these, especially for immigrant families, became a really big deal. This Bible is full of pictures. It has a wooden binding. It's made of wooden boards that are then bound together, and the whole back side has actually come completely off. It is a beautifully illustrated Bible and has both color and black and white pictures inside of it. It is this was advertised as a family Bible, like I said. There is a section between the Old and New Testaments that show births, marriages, and deaths. Now this isn't fully filled out. I don't know why. Again, this is that aunt that went to college who had been her, Clara Clausen. This is hers, and that is whom we received this book from. So this is the inside is in relatively good condition. The outside is struggling. Alright friends, so there you have it. Those are some of the old books that we have back at my place, my parents' house back in the East Coast. Let me know if you have any books like these. I know Crystal Lynn has a collection. Are you fans of old books? I know that I've grown up with lots of them, and if I gave you a tour of those shelves behind me, we'd see lots of books from the early 1900s up until the 1930s, a whole collection of them. But these are some of the most interesting of the old books that we own. I hope you guys are doing well, and I will talk to you later. Bye!